A Russian man on trial for the murder of his sister was filmed attempting to escape from the courtroom through the ceiling. When Leonid Grazer went on trial for a murder he claimed Satan had told him to commit, staff in the Moscow courthouse were clearly taking no chances. Leonid Grazer sat quietly inside the glass box the staff put him in for their safety. Accused of a crime that shook the entire community, but especially his family, the murder of his sister, he awaited judgment in the Moscow courthouse. But for Leonid, the trial was not as important as the reason behind his actions. He claimed that Satan had spoken to him, urging him to commit the heinous crime. As the trial unfolded and his chances for freedom diminished with every passing minute, Leonid Grazer developed an escape plan that would go down in history. With each passing moment, the walls of the glass box felt like they were crushing him inside, so he grew more and more eager to make a run for it, or rather, a climb. When opportunity presented itself, he seized it without having any second thoughts, thinking this was the only way he could break free of his shackles. The events that progressed were veiled in a dense cloud of chaos. The courtroom stood shocked as Leonid launched himself towards the grill atop the glass-walled box, his movements swift and hurried by the adrenaline he felt at the thought that he could be free. The police officers, vigilant and alert, sprang into action as Leonid began his climb through the ceiling. Trying to catch him in any possible way, the officers cornered Leonid as he struggled to get out of his shackles. The scene was baffling, but comic as well. Leonid managed to wriggle free from his trousers as well as from his shackles at last, but the officers were vigilant, fighting as hard as they could to detain the man. In a final attempt to escape, Leonid struggled hard to gather enough strength to get away from the officer's grip, even managing to push the ceiling panels into the crawl space above, but his body eventually met the horrible shock of a taser and the forceful hit of a baton. At last, his escape came to an anticlimactic end. One officer managed to hold him down by one leg until help arrived, while another officer is seen in the CCTV footage using his taser again on Grazer to keep him from trying to flee again. In the end, he pulled his trousers back up and was handcuffed to prevent any more escapes. When petty criminals Tanner Jacobson and Kodey Howard decided to leg it from a courtroom in Washington state, they probably thought they'd only have to dodge a few startled security guards. What they didn't expect was that the judge himself would stand up, throw off his black robes like a pro wrestler going into action, and sprint out from behind the bench to give chase. In a video obtained by the Daily Chronicle, District Court Judge R.W. Buzzard can be seen removing his robe and running after Tanner Jacobson, 22, and Kodey Howard, 28, after they attempted to flee his courtroom in the city of Chehalis, about 85 miles southwest of Seattle. The two men can be seen in the video from October 16, 2018, still in handcuffs, trying to escape down a stairwell with Jacobson in the lead. The scene unfolded rapidly as Jacobson and Howard made their run in a desperate attempt to regain their freedom. Both of them made it down 4 flights of stairs before Judge R.W. Buzzard eventually caught up with Howard and daringly grabbed him by the arm, forcing him to end his escape. Meanwhile, Jacobson, still desperate and, after he saw Howard was caught, panicked, carried on with their plan, but only managed to make it a few blocks before he was caught by authorities, according to KOMO. Judge R.W. Buzzard recalls the attempted stairwell escape as his most adrenaline-filled day at the office. Buzzard said that he was shocked at first before the realization that there was no one else available to catch the criminals on their way out of the building came to him. So, pushed by his curiosity and wanting to simply know where they were going, he rushed after them. Once I got to the stairwell, I knew I was going to be able to catch the one that was just in front of me because I immediately started gaining on him. I was yelling at them all the way down the stairs to "Stop, you're making things worse." Although this was not his first aggressive incident in the courtroom, this one cemented the fact that the staff needs to work on making the courtroom more secure, as well as maybe doing something about the robes, as he recalled. I found out in April that grappling in a robe is very restrictive. I couldn't imagine running down the stairs and being in a robe, so I got it off as soon as I could and went after him. After their courageous attempt to escape the inevitable arm of the law, Jacobson and Howard have been charged with second-degree escape on top of their previous charges. Footage showing a prisoner escaping from right under a guard's nose in a Washington courthouse is almost too shocking to believe. But in 2015, then 24-year-old Gerald A. Hyde II showed that escaping from custody doesn't always involve some elaborate plan. Sometimes it can be as simple as slipping out of an open door. In the narrow corridors of Benton County Superior Court, where justice is meted out with solemnity, Gerald A. Hyde II orchestrated an escape that would leave authorities stunned. With little more than quick thinking and audacity, he defied the odds and left behind a trail of unanswered questions. Caught on CCTV cameras, the footage captured the moment when Hyde, then 24 years old and convicted of possessing methamphetamine, seized his once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for freedom. As a guard escorted him from the courtroom into an interior hallway, the seemingly routine procedure took a dramatic turn. In a moment of pure distraction, the guard, not paying attention to Hyde, let the inmate escape right from under his eyes. Hyde capitalized on the opportunity and, comically, walked backwards until turning to slip out of the hallway, with the precision of a man who probably thought long and hard about that very moment. As he fled through the empty courtroom he had entered from the hallway, Hyde shed his shoes and discarded his jail-issued shirt, leaving behind almost every bit of evidence that he was ever an inmate awaiting his trial. Wearing a white vest and the remaining vestiges of his incarceration, he made his bold exit through the doors of the courthouse and onto the busy streets. Though Hyde did successfully make it out of the courthouse, his freedom was, as you would expect, short-lived. He was tracked down just a couple of hours later at a friend's apartment a couple of miles away. Hyde was taken back into custody and was hit with a second-degree escape charge for his brazen actions. Charged with second-degree escape, he found himself once more in the clutches of custody, his actions worsening his previous charges and probably bringing more harm to his final sentence. When asked about Hyde's escape, Commander John Law at the Benton County Sheriff's Office said the inmate had escaped due to a blind spot. Already on probation for larceny, Jessica Cato had been compelled to attend a class by court order back in 2016. But while she was there, the staff found out she had some recent warrants out on her for some petty offenses. With the sudden realization dawning on her that they were about to arrest her, the woman first barricaded herself in a bathroom and then tore down a ceiling tile to gain access to the scaffolding above. Jessica Lynn Cato was at the Kent County Court attending a class called Thinking Matters, an intensive program that challenges individuals to examine the core attitudes and beliefs that motivate their thinking patterns and dictate their behaviors, with the ultimate goal of changing those destructive behaviors. Pretty ironic, given the action that unfolded while attending the class. During the class, court security was informed that Cato had 2 criminal bench warrants, one for contempt of court and one for probation violation, and would need to be taken into custody. While in the process of being apprehended, Cato managed to convince the staff to let her go to the toilet while she started to make up a plan to escape incarceration. In a panic, with her heart pounding in her chest, Jessica succeeded in ripping out a tile from the ceiling and crawled inside to evade the staff's gaze. After thoroughly searching for the woman, the officers finally caught her hiding in the ceiling above the public area of the courthouse. After taking her down, they took her into custody and charged her for the 2 then active warrants.